Matt Hobbs is the Arkansas pitching coach. You know him well, and we appreciate his time on Halftime today. Matt, nice to have you on today. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
You guys aren't sitting around a table trying to figure out what the starting rotation looks like here just before opening day, so not a lot going on. Everybody's got questions about what that rotation looks like, so I'm assuming you guys have at least the first weekend figured out.
We'll see. We're getting close. We're getting real close. I think I think Connor will be in there somewhere. So, the other ones we're trying to still figure out a little bit. I think Coach announces it maybe tomorrow or the next day, but feel good about I think we feel good about the candidates right now, and it's just a matter of them going out and doing it. So it's exciting. The start of the season is always exciting because you can watch them. You can only watch them scrimmage for so long before you're just ready to see them play somebody else.
Well, it's about opportunity. That's what I hear from you. It's about we have so many opportunities for guys to establish themselves in whatever role a baseball team needs. Like, it feels like every role is, I wouldn't say up for grabs, but was open at the start of practice. So, I hear fans might be a little bit nervous about it, but what I hear from you and what I would assume I'd hear from the guys who get these opportunities is an excitement and an optimism about how this can shake out.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that it's going to take a little bit of patience early, just because there are so many unknowns, and there's a bunch of young talented pitchers that just haven't really been tested at this level, at least for some of them just getting through the SEC. We've got some guys that returned from last year's staff that we're excited about, but they haven't really had to do it and be the guy yet. So that's always a little bit concerning when you're going into the year, for sure, just because it's way better to be returning a bunch of guys that have pitched a ton for you. But, these things evolve as you go, and I think that the rotation on opening weekend might be a heck of a lot different than the rotation, 5 weeks into conference play, or it could be the same. It's a matter of them going and taking, like you said, opportunity and then doing something with it. Bullpens are fun to watch, but, they don't get people out. They got to go get people out on the field. So I'm excited to see those guys get out there and compete. I do feel like there's a lot of exciting pieces, but it's a matter of them going out and establishing who's going to be the Friday, Saturday, Sunday guy, who's going to be the midweek guy, who's going to throw the 8th inning, who's going to throw the 7th, who's going to close. Those things change over time. And, we didn't have, Cops last year didn't start closing until Auburn. Like, he wasn't our closer until the Auburn weekend, which I think was the third weekend maybe of SEC play, second or third weekend.
That's exactly right. That's what I mean. That's what the first 4 weeks of the baseball season are really to try to figure out what the last 10 will look like as far as your pitching staff is concerned. So there's a little mixing and matching going on. But if somebody pitches well this weekend against Illinois State, chances are they maybe filling the same role the weekend after at Round Rock?
Yeah, I think so. I think that we're going to hopefully, that the guys go out that are going to start this weekend do pitch well, and, they can lock down spots. It's much easier to be able to pencil in 3 starters that are the same every weekend. Like, it's much easier to do that. But, college baseball, there's a lot of fluctuation with guys. Some guys can be electric for 2 or 3 weekends in a row, then all of a sudden they're in the bullpen, in 5 weeks from now. So it's just a matter of guys being able to carve out some consistency, and I think that's what we're looking to see from these first 4 weeks, is who can consistently give us outings. At least we know what we're getting when we put them in. And if you can do that, it's a heck of a lot easier to make decisions. A ton easier to make decisions as a coach if you just know what you're going to get day to day from a guy. So that's what some of these guys that that haven't had to go out and pitch 4 weekends in a row. We think that Gabe Starks has a really good arm, but he hasn't had to go out and pitch 4 weekends in a row in a end of the game role or a middle relief role. He just hasn't had to do that yet. And now this is the chance for some of these guys. And you still have veterans, though. You got Cole Ramage has been through it. Deb's been through it. Connor Noland's been through it. Elijah Tress has been through it. So you got some veterans that can come back and kind of steady the waters for you, which gives you a good feeling about being able to put some guys that have been through the league. Zach Morris, too, there's another one that have been through the league a little bit, and give you some experience in going out and being able to execute some of the roles. So I think that it'll be leaning on those guys a little bit to be able to give us some consistency, and then let give the young guys some time to be able to get in and be able to fill some of the roles that we need filled. I mean, I think we lost the top 5 inning throwers from last year's team. So that's losing a lot of pitching.
Yeah, it is, Coach. But I do feel like it's probably exciting to, kind of figure out where all these puzzle pieces will fit. And one thing that y'all have such a big advantage over a lot of other teams, not just throughout college baseball, but in the SEC, is the new building and the new technology. Kind of tell us about some of the new technology that y'all are working with in that new Hunt facility that's helping y'all, make these decisions and helping y'all coach this team to the best of their ability.
Yeah, the Hunt Center is just unbelievable building. Some of the new tech that's down there, we had a force mound in the old building, which is just kind of like a giant force plate that the guys can pitch on. We upgraded that to the kind of the 2.0 version of that mound, and feel like it's given us some really great feedback for stuff that the guys do with their lower body and how they apply force to the ground when they're pitching, and shows a lot of different things in the delivery as soon as they basically as soon as they move. And then the Marco's motion capture system, the Kinatrack system that we have in there, which is the 8 camera setup that gives us kinematic data of every pitch that's thrown in the pitching development center. And we use that probably, it seems like every day for something. So it's getting a lot of use. It's giving us a lot of good feedback. We hope that in addition to performance, it helps us mitigate the injury risk a little bit. I mean, it's hard to say that, and pitching is by definition a pretty dangerous thing for your arm, no matter who you are. But we feel like at least we're armed with really good information. So if we need to try to make adjustments, that we're able to make them on the fly and make them pretty quick. And then you got the Edgertronic cameras, which we've had for a while, that are really good, and portable TrackMan unit that we just put in probably about 6 months ago. So inside, now we have TrackMan inside and outside on the field. So you're comparing apples to apples. We've used a Rapsodo in the past, which is a good piece of equipment, but the portable TrackMan really gives us more apples to apples comparison of pitch to pitch, so we can evaluate bullpen versus the game a little bit better than we have been able to in the past. So it means that your administration's made a huge commitment to the program, and obviously they don't make a commitment to the program if you don't have great fans that are going to come and fill up the building. And I think that's one of the reasons why the building gets built, is because of the fans. In addition to how successful the program's been under Coach Van Horn and Coach DeBryan before him, but the fan base is really like what allows you to do these kind of things. So I know that there's a lot of question marks about what we're going to do on the mound, but if you're patient with us, I think that you're going to like the product as we go through the season.
Oh, yeah, definitely, Coach. And, when you're coaching guys as talented as you are at the University of Arkansas, a lot of these guys, their mechanics, their emotions have been set since, they were 10 years old or younger than that. They've been pitching their entire lives. A lot of them have been POs, since they started playing competitive baseball at 8 or 9. And when you're coaching guys like that who've had multiple coaches, had personal pitching coaches outside of high school or outside of showcase baseball, guys that have had more instruction, through 10 years of their life than former major leaguers had their entire career, how much tweaking do you do as far as mechanics, arm slot? Are you more of a philosophy of whatever feels natural to them and their own personal motion, and I'll help here and there, but they know what they're doing and they can kind of work it out on their own? Or do you kind of take the approach of I see something wrong, I know what I personally mechanically would do to fix it, and this is what we're going to do going forward?
It's totally a case-by-case basis with these guys, but a really good point that you get a lot of guys that have been programmed to throw a certain way for a long time before you get them here. And the first thing we'll do is just make assessments, and our assessments go through a battery of them, through the training room, through the weight room, and obviously my space and the pitching space. And then we'll see if there is anything that is standing out. We're fortunate to have some of the technology we have. If we see a pitcher that's exhibiting a crazy amount of elbow and shoulder torque, I mean, no matter how he throws, we're going to try to do something to just help be able to extract some of that stress he puts on his arm when he throws, even if it's really good stuff. I mean, because the injuries happen, and like I said, if you can try to get out in front of them as much as possible, that's what we try to do with some of the technology that we do have. But I like to think that there's one way everybody should throw. It's natural to them. And it might not look like we all want it to look. It might not look appealing to me, but it might be natural for them. They might be able to make it work, and they might hit every benchmark that we look at in terms of assessment. And when we have to come in is, all right, now you've got all this, you have your delivery to a point where it's functional for you. How do we use the stuff your delivery creates? Like, where are we going to throw your fastball on average? Where are we going to try to grab swings and misses? Is there a breaking ball we need to throw more than another one? Is there a pitch we should feature against like right or left-handedness in the hitters? I think that's where we have to come in and do a really good job of educating them on their own stuff, making them responsible for their own stuff on a day-to-day basis, and then also trying to educate as much as we can about, here's areas you can go to for your swings and misses. Here's areas you can go to when you need ground balls. Here's situations you need to pitch differently in, and you need to use these types of pitches in those situations. And once you start really like talking to the guys about that, and they get educated, get the catchers educated in that too, it just makes for an easier developmental process for them because they kind of have a better idea of who they are as a pitcher. I think that's probably the biggest struggle that we all have as college baseball coaches is you get guys with good stuff. Like, that's not debatable. In the SEC, especially at our place, you get guys that are really good. They have good arms. They throw 96. They have incredible breaking balls, but they don't really know where to throw them. They don't really know where to use them. They don't really know how often they should be using them. They don't really know if they should throw it against rights or lefts. And where we have to come in is evaluating performance in terms of how they pitch against our guys. And we're so lucky that we have this offense that is a total gauntlet to go through in an inter-squad game that really gives you direct feedback of how good or bad you are immediately. I think that's the best thing that our pitchers have to do is, go against Caden, Robert Moore, Brady Slavin, Jace Borfin, Michael Turner. I mean, you could just keep on going. Peyton Stovall. It's just like a total gauntlet. And that's going to get that. I feel like that has got them prepared for anything that they have to face this year.
Just a couple more minutes here with Matt Hobbs, Coach. I think pitching, the pitching delivery is the most complex thing in all of team sports. There's so many different places you can break down, and I think that is where this technology figures in so perfectly for what you have to do because you get a chance for these pitchers to take a step back off the mound and see what it is they're doing. But I wonder about, Kevin last year, I felt like he created a new pitch. Maybe perhaps this technology leads to the ability to, hold the ball in a certain way, have it do certain things that maybe you weren't able to do previously because you didn't have that perspective of stepping back and watching it, in slow-mo and all the other things that you do. And it feels like there are pitchers that might have added. Are there a lot of new cutters on this team? Because that seems to be a real, an in pitch for not just Arkansas, but in the game.
Yeah, I think when you have Kevin throwing as many cutters as he did last year, sure seems like everybody wanted to throw one. So that's one of the things that our guys have added is being able to do different things and multiple things with their breaking balls. And sometimes they might call them a cutter. It plays a little bit more like a slider. So I think that pitch development is a huge piece of the puzzle for being able to really round out their arsenal. Like I said, you got a lot of guys here that have really good arms, but rounding out the arsenal is something that's incredibly important. And yeah, there's been at least 2 or 3 guys that have added cutters for sure.
Football might be over this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pros and college hoops. For all the latest odds, totals, player performance props, to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your sports betting needs. Head over to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's promo code BLEAV. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, right to the Olympic coverage, is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your #1 online wagering destination. BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts.